All right, Wizards fans, the 2025 NBA Draft is in the books. Bijan Todd alongside the newest Washington Wizard, 43rd overall pick, Jamir Watkins. Jamir, first of all, congratulations. Welcome to D.C. What was your reaction when you got the call saying you would be a Wizard?
It was an exciting call. I seen the whole organization was happy, and I was excited, man. I started crying instantly with my family, and we took the day by storm, and we just enjoyed it.
That's happy tears, though, when you were crying, I'm sure. Now, a lot of Wizards fans might not know. Obviously, you played at Florida State for 2 years, but before that, you were at VCU for 2 years, not that far from here down in Richmond. How did playing in the A-10 prepare you for the NBA and for Florida State?
I feel like the A-10 is a slept-on conference. I believe, a lot of talent has came out of A-10, and a bunch of guys that are in the league now came out of A-10. So I think A-10 is a slept-on conference that everybody should keep a lookout for.
For Wizards fans who might not know, how would you describe your game?
I believe I'm a two-way, player that's going to space the floor, get everybody else going. I can play some on ball, I can initiate, and I can guard multiple positions on defense. So I think my game's like all around.
The Wizards love guys who can guard multiple positions, so you're going to fit right in here.
Yep.
I looked at your stats from this past year. You were top 10 in the entire nation in free throws. Now, I think that speaks to your aggressiveness and your physicality on offense. How well do you think that's going to translate to the NBA?
I believe, me playing with a bunch of young guys and a good group of guys that have high talent, I think, it'll be a closeout game. I'll be able to, knock down open shots, and, when I get a heavy contest, I'll be able to draw a foul, go into the line, or get, certain guys in foul trouble. I think it'll help the team.
Now, is there an area of your game specifically that you would say you've improved upon the most over the last year or two of your career?
I would just say confidence. My confidence has grown a lot. Being in a position I was in last year, I had a big role, so my confidence had to be where it was.
Now, with the Wizards specifically, how much do you know about them as an organization and what they're trying to build here with guys like yourself building from the draft, from the ground up?
Yeah, I know that they have a young core. They got a few veterans that the young guys can lean on and learn from. I feel like I'm right in the middle of the pack, to where though I'm not too young, I'm not too old, so I can learn from both groups. And I think it's going to be a fun year, and I think we're going to win a lot of games.
Well, that's music to Wizards fans' ears. Now, when you talk about veterans, not necessarily on the Wizards, but elsewhere in the NBA, who do you model your game after, and who are you most excited to go up against in the NBA?
As far as model my game, I would say I could watch a bunch of players offensively and defensively. So I wouldn't say I really model my game after anybody, but it's a bunch of guys, 3-and-D guys that I could watch in the league, and this is gonna be fun.
Now, I'm sure you know this by now, but you're not the only ACC guy on the Wizards. You actually played against Bub Carrington from Pitt and Keyshawn George from Miami 2 years ago when they were freshmen and you were at Florida State. I looked up those games. You beat Keyshawn's Miami team twice. You went 2-0 against him, and you outscored him in those games. And you lost to Bub Carrington's team, but you also outscored him in that one game that you played against. So my question to you is there any bad blood between you two? You excited to stoke that fire again a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We're teammates now, so we're going to put that behind us. We probably going to talk about it, but it's nothing too much.
A lot of competitiveness in that practice locker room, I'm sure, right?
Yep.
Last question for you. The reason you wore number 1 at Florida State, I read, was because you wanted to become the first person in your family to get a college degree, which you did just about a month ago. Congratulations, by the way. How important was that to you? How much did that mean to your family?
Oh, that was very important to me. I think, just being able to be in that position, I was blessed. Being a first is a blessing, so being able to change the whole dynamic of my family and, change the culture, showing not only my family but people from back home that, it's different ways out of, Trenton other than, dying or going to jail. So that was big for me.
Words to live by. Jamir Watkins, appreciate the time. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest Washington Wizard, Jamir Watkins.
Yes, sir.
Keep a close eye on him as Summer League is coming up in just about 2 weeks.